On this Monday, we're getting brand new insight about the guest list for an annual hate conference at a state park right here in Middle Tennessee. And we've now discovered it includes people who have celebrated political violence. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston. Carrie is off. The American Renaissance Conference has been coming to the area since 2012, yet not much has been known about the cast of characters who attend. That is until now. News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams was there 3 weeks ago when the conference returned to Montgomery Bell State Park in Dickson County. Phil is with us now, and I know you've been working hard to figure out who you were actually seeing come into that place, right?
That's right, which was not something that the conference organizers liked at all. As it turns out, there's probably a good reason.
If you are not here to celebrate and lift up love, what are you doing here? Why would you promote hate?
Among the changing colors of the season,
Here for the conference? What's your last name?
visitors came from across the country for a conference where the only color that really matters is white.
But because there are 200 or 300 people in that building over there that believe only they belong in this country.
Here at Tennessee's Montgomery Bell State Park, protesters were kept far from attendees at the American Renaissance Conference, an event that, as the protesters see it, represents the worst of the world of hate.
And we want our message of tolerance and acceptance to stand in stark contrast to what they're advocating for in there.
Exactly what they advocate inside the park's lodge is a closely guarded secret, as is the guest list, which is what led us to stake out the security checkpoint standing in a public spot in a public park where we found some attendees desperate to hide from our cameras. For this woman, it was an effort that required both hands.
It's my understanding that you have been providing these pictures to people in the past years.
And this man, a longtime American Renaissance speaker and attorney who has represented the Klan and other hate groups, accused us of working with domestic terrorists. So when he stopped to take pictures, I decided to confront his questions directly. Did you have any questions for me?
Well, I'd be happy to ask you. Y'all are with Channel 5?
I am with Channel 5. I'm Phil Williams.
Hi, I'm Sam Dixon. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Sam.
The reason is we have reason to be concerned about we've had lost a couple with a group called Antifa. And they have tried to prevent us from having our meetings. And
I assure you, I'm not Antifa.
Look at it.
Back at the checkpoint, we saw some familiar faces.
Howdy, Phil.
Hello, Thomas. How are you, sir? That's Thomas Rousseau. He's the leader of the Patriot Front, the white nationalist group known for its flash mob protests, as well as its training of young men for battle. They want an America that's for whites only. And this is Eric Orwell, the Arkansas man who heads Return to the Land, the group that wants to build a whites-only community in Tennessee. Recently posted photos show Patriot Front showed up at Orwell's compound in Arkansas to help with building projects there. That despite what seemed like his efforts to distance himself from the group when we talked a few weeks back. When we did the Zoom interview, you expressed some ambivalence. But then they came to your place and did some work.
No, I'm all for helping them and them helping us. I do have some personal ideological disagreements, but they're relatively minor.
Then there's Greg Johnson, the man in the passenger seat who, as you can see, was none too happy to see our cameras. One of the speakers at the conference, Johnson is author of the White Nationalist Manifesto. After a mass murder committed by neo-Nazi Anders Breivik in 2011, first killing 8 people with a van bomb, followed by the massacre of 69 people at a Norwegian youth camp, Greg Johnson wrote of his, quote, strange new respect for the killer, who he argued was engaged in resistance to genocide. Although Johnson said it would have been better if he had killed the actual leadership of Norway's Labour Party or the leaders of the Norwegian press instead of innocent children. Breivik, he wrote, simply chose the wrong targets for his killing spree. Back at the protest, does it surprise you that you have someone like Greg Johnson who, defends mass shooters
It doesn't surprise me. Like I said, it is the worst of the worst.
Then there was Johnson's companion, David Zuddy. He has defended the neo-Nazi who drove into a crowd of protesters in Charlottesville, killing 32-year-old Heather Heyer. The killer was convicted of first-degree murder. Yet David Zuddy tweeted, quote, James Fields is a hero who did nothing wrong. And, quote, Charlottesville made me realize that many liberals aren't fully human, along with the true extent of Jewish media control. He has also defended those who assaulted Capitol Police on January 6th. We also spotted this man from Atlanta. His name is Jared Huggins, and he was once part of a neo-Nazi group called Identity Europa. Huggins was also in Charlottesville, according to hate researchers who uncovered this Facebook post under a different last name where he called the weekend, quote, effing metal, and this Twitter post where he celebrated the Dodge Challenger used in the murder. Then there was a Pennsylvania man who heads a publishing house that reprints Nazi and other far-right books, and this young man from East Tennessee wearing a cap for the National Alliance. His name, we discovered, is Dylan Gaidano. National Alliance is a group originally founded by neo-Nazi William Pierce. Pierce's book, The Turner Diaries, helped inspire Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. Social media accounts linked to Gaidano have expressed admiration for violent white supremacists Robert J. Matthews and Fraser Glenn Miller. One Telegram post stated, quote, for me at least, if our goals aren't met in my lifetime, I will pull a page out of Master Sergeant Fraser Glenn Miller's playbook. Fraser Glenn Miller shot and killed 3 members of a Kansas Jewish community in 2014 because he wanted to kill some Jews before he died.
Perhaps the best clue about what was happening inside comes from this man we spotted at the checkpoint. Emil Kosman is a Romanian-born pro-Russian podcaster who was invited to the conference to observe.
Right over there, they are videotaping us because somehow we are bad dudes.
This was Kosman we spotted outside the lodge. He later described the atmosphere inside the conference as one where it was anti-Semitism that really invigorated the crowd.
Yeah, the Jews are in control over there. These kind of things. A lot of people cheered. Oh, yeah, like, good job, man, telling us the truth.
The podcaster said the National Alliance had a table set up where it was selling its materials, but American Renaissance insisted that the Turner Diaries be kept under the table out of public view.
Guys, you know what the reason was? These guys are neo-Nazis. These are Nazis. That was the answer. They are Nazis. That's why we don't do it. It's a Nazi book.
Mr. Taylor, hi, Phil Williams.
That's a far different story from when I first met American Renaissance founder Jerry Taylor a year ago.
How about the neo-Nazis?
I don't even know a neo-Nazi.
But inside the conference this year,
he said, well, that, what was his expression? That promotes violence and terrorism. Do you know that?
Kosman said Jerry Taylor privately insisted the group's Turner Diaries was a real problem.
Whose state? Our state! Whose state? Our state!
Which is why these protesters say what happens here inside this state park cannot be ignored.
And this group kind of represents the worst of the worst. And I wanted to at least be out here to say that that's not the America that I grew up with. That's not the America that I believe in.
Now, we've also identified other people at the conference, including, get this, a Lutheran pastor from Southeast Alabama who has connections to what has been described as a neo-Confederate group. And to be clear, not everyone there advocates violence, although it is also clear there are some, including some influential attendees, who refuse to reject it.
A lot of work put into this, Phil. Appreciate it. At the top of the newscast, we mentioned that this event has been held out at Montgomery Bell, since 2012?
Since 2012.
They have no plans, apparently, to move locations?
Yeah, I think that's the safe bet. In fact, in a write-up after the conference in a blog post, they wrote that American Renaissance is now an institution at the current location, so it seems they're determined to stay.
All right, Phil, thank you. And a reminder, if you'd like to see any of Phil's past investigations on hate in our communities, go to newschannel5.com/hate.